Have you tried playing new games and you're kind of not sure where to start? Or have you got your favorite board games and you wish you knew some of the other strategies to play them? Well, you're in for a treat. In this video, I've put together some board games designers or publishers tips of some of your favorite board games coming right up. Hi everyone, hope you're well. It's Stella from Maple University. Welcome back to my tabletop diary. Hopefully you've seen the other tips video that I've done and find them useful. Otherwise, check them out here or check the descriptions in this video. In this episode, more coming your way from lovely designers who sent me the tips. Now before we get into it, I want to let you know that you could put in the comment sections below if you like a board game to be featured in this series, and I'll try my best to get it. Now, I've also added timestamps below this video, so if you want to go right to a particular game you want to see, you could. So, here are the tips, starting from Architects of the West Kingdom by Sam McDonald.
Hi, I'm Sam McDonald, co-designer of Architects of the West Kingdom. Stella from Maple University has asked me to give you some strategy tips for when you play Architects of the West Kingdom. You might have played before, but hopefully some of these things will help you out. The first and the major concept that I want to get across to you today is one of timing in Architects. So the game is going to end after a set number of constructions, and players will place meeples in the guild hall when they build a building or when they build the cathedral. Now, what this means is that the game length can vary wildly based off how everyone else at the table is playing. Thankfully, you do have some power over the game timer, and learning how to time and execute your strategy well based off how everyone else is playing is essential. So you might ask questions like, are apprentices good? Is using the black market good? Is it worthwhile? Should I be building the cathedral? Should I be building big buildings or small buildings? And the answer to those questions is it really depends. If everyone is rushing the game, then you want to try and get as many points as quickly as possible, and you probably don't have much time to hire much of a crew. And so you probably don't want to be capturing much, you want to just be rushing out those buildings. But if people are going a bit slower, maybe you want to put pressure on them by going to the cathedral. Maybe you've got time to build up a black market engine, and those engines can be very, very strong, but you have to gauge how others are playing. The second point is talking about building cards. So at the start of the game, you're going to draft 3 building cards, these cards here. Now it's essential that you draft well and plan your strat around these buildings. But what I would recommend is picking up 2 to 3 more buildings. So you've got about 6 in your hand quite early in the game. This gives you a lot more options to work towards. And also, even if you're planning to build the cathedral, you know that if you get to the top, you're going to have to spend 5 building cards. So if you've got 6 in your hand, you're left with another building that you can build that could top your score up to above 30, above 40, that kind of thing. And the final thing I want to talk about is capturing. Now, some people think capturing is terrible, some people think it's okay, but it's very situational. What I would recommend is really only capture if you've got a way of spending the money that you get from capturing. So if you're collecting a bunch of debts, and then if you've got some debt collectors that are going to give you resources for paying off the debts, absolutely you should capture. That is the most efficient way of getting money. Or if someone's got 8 workers in the mines, maybe you should capture them to stop them getting 4 points that round. Or maybe you've got a trading strategy where you've got merchants and you're turning silver into other resources. But don't get baited into capturing too much if you're not going to use the money. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy your next play of Architects of the West Kingdom.
Hi, this is David Turti. I'm the designer of Dice Settlers and the solo designer of Teotihuacan, and I'm here to give you a few strategy pointers on how to play these games from Board and Dice. I'll start with Dice Settlers. I probably can tell you more about that one. The trick with Dice Settlers is that it's dice driven, obviously, because it's a dice bag builder game, and because of that, at the surface it looks like that each round you get a set of random options, but the thing is there are no bad options. There are a number of actions in the game, all of which help you move forward. Your job is to every round decide which 1, 2, or 3 actions would be your absolute best, the actions that you would really want to do if the dice just magically rolled whatever you wanted, and then in using your dice manipulation abilities, the reroll powers, the setting powers, try to coach the dice into something close to your ideal turn as possible. Don't try to do it the other way. If you just look at your dice and that looks completely different, don't give up. Try to figure out how to get close to your ideal turn as much as possible. There are plenty of dice manipulation abilities. There are no inherently bad rolls. Trust yourself. Try to find the strategy. And don't just play on a tactical level. Don't just try to maximize each turn. Look at the technology offer. Keep note of the tiles appearing throughout exploration and try to have a goal. Where are you going to get your big points from? Are you going to find and secure 7 and 9 point tiles, or are you going to get a 4 lamp tack and score 10 points at the end? Up to you. Just pick a strategy, try to stick to it. Choose your dice accordingly. The brown dice is very good if you want lots of resources, but if you need to trade very quickly, then you might need an orange or a green for the extra handshakes. If there are limited ways of increasing your dice quota, then definitely make sure to get them. If there are multiple, prioritize, because if you don't, if you let yourself just be washed away by the rhythm of the game, then you'll have to pivot often, and then you'll feel like you missed out on some things. So in short, take control, bend the dice to your will, and then eventually you won't need luck at all. Few thoughts about Teotihuacan. I'm not considered a world-class player in that game, so don't believe everything I say. To me, the soul of the game is looking at the starting setup and trying to pick 1 or 2 strategies that promise to be the most juicy in that game. What do I mean? There are a number of technology tiles in play each game. Some of them make pyramid building stronger, some of them make discovery tile collection stronger, some of them make you move around easier, make the cocoa economy easier, which in turn allows you to spend more time going up the temples. So figure out which strategy is being boosted the most this game, and then plan your ascensions. Do you need the cocoa from the ascension to pay for your workers, or can you pick a more useful reward for ascending? If you can shoot up on multiple temple tiles, you can get the endgame objectives, which will also score you big points. Are there enough masks at the beginning of the game to support a mask collection strategy, or should you just technically pick up the right discovery tile whenever and not really plan your game around them? Pyramid is always very good for the resources to victory point ratio, so even if it's not the best strategy on the current setup, definitely don't ignore it completely. And also look out for the order of the boards, because remember, when you ascend, you go back to the first board. So the boards that are on the first half of the circle will be more easily accessible, more often accessible towards the end of the game. I hope some of these tips will help you, and you'll enjoy both Dice Settlers and Teotihuacan, both in multiplayer or against the bot. Good luck and keep on playing.
Hi, my name is Shem Phillips. I am the owner of Garfield Games and designer of this game, Raiders of the North Sea. Now, Stella from Meeple University has asked me to give some inside information, some tips on how to play this game well, whether it be your first game or maybe you've played a few games and you're not quite understanding how to win, how to play well. So 2 tips for you. The first one is, during setup, you're getting dealt 5 cards and you have to choose 3 of them and discard 2. If you're playing with expansions, there's a bit of a draft, but the result is very similar. You're going to be basically choosing your starting hand of cards, and this is very important. What I look for in this hand is basically any cards that synergize well together. So for example, these 2 cards, the Archer and the Huntsman, both relate to outposts. So I might have an opening strategy of going for the outposts. And depending on where the Valkyries sit, which is another important part of the setup kind of opening strategy, if there's no Valkyrie on those outposts, I may be able to save up my provisions, skip right past the harbours and just raid 2 or 3 outposts back to back before returning to the village. So you need to look at your cards, look for synergies that work well together. Also, another thing to look at is the strength in the top of the cards. If your hand of cards has a very strong strength value, then you're probably better off focusing on doing some big raids, focusing on the monasteries and on the fortresses, and bumping up your armor track as fast as you can. If you've got what looks like a terrible hand at first, with all 0s and 1s or 2s, then you can be very fast at raiding the harbours, picking off all the plunder from other people, and doing offerings. So those are the 2 kind of extreme strategies. But yeah, look for synergies and look for the kind of overall strength of your starting hand. The second piece of advice for raiders, and I find this is one that can seem a bit strange to people, but you need to be prepared to switch strategies halfway through the game. So you might start the game with a big strong crew, doing lots of raiding, getting points off the military strength. But if everyone else starts doing that, then you're going to be competing for those fortresses at the end of the game. So you need to kind of remain tactical and look out for opportunities where you might want to shift halfway through. And instead of using your crew to raid, you might use them to kind of to attack the Valkyrie, or not attack the Valkyrie, but go after Valkyrie, and pick up, sort of revert back and get the outposts in the harbours, get the resources that are sitting there still to do offerings. And the flip side would be if you started off with a very small crew, you might raid a few harbours, you might take 2 or 3 Valkyries just early on, then you might want to shift halfway through to start getting some a more strong or midweight to strong crew, and hit the monasteries and maybe some fortresses, and then at the end of the game flip back to sort of finishing off the Valkyrie track. So stay versatile, don't commit just to one strategy, and have fun with the game. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks.
Thanks guys for the tips. Well, hopefully these tips are useful. If you've discovered tips for these board games yourself, please feel free in the comment sections below if you like, and watch out for the next episodes. If you enjoyed this video, please help us by hitting the like button and subscribe to us. You can also click the meeple in the corner and hit the bell so you'll be notified of our next videos, including the next in the board game strategy series. Also check me out on Instagram for my board game journey, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching guys, have a great day.